Most of the time when we design a building, we're always thinking about how to cover that concrete. What is the floor finish going to be like? We'll have some of the traditional types of covering, such as carpeting or wood or tile. We always are going to have a finish on it. Really, in the last 20, 30 years, we have been trying to use concrete in its natural state to be able to have that as a finish. And that is because concretes have gotten really, really good today, where you can actually have exposed concrete. Some people have embraced some of the cracks and some of the defects on concrete as if it were a stone. I think that is a good strategy. Concrete can really be very, very beautiful if it is poured properly, if it is treated properly, if it's finished properly. I think it can be really, really nice. I've actually done it in my home, where I actually polished the concrete, and to this day it still is like that. It is more of a contemporary industrial type of look, and I think if people embrace it, they will embrace its defects as well. The defects I'm talking about are like cracks. Concrete's supposed to crack, okay? No ifs and buts, concrete cracks. So you are going to have cracks that, in my eyes, I call them veins through the concrete, just like having veins in stone. That is how I'm able to look at it. So if people are able to embrace the defects on concrete, it can actually be quite beautiful industrial look. It's very important to be able to pay attention to the concrete when designing a building, because truly, the concrete starts with the foundation, right? That is where the concrete's going to go. The size of the foundation, the location of the footings, the type of slab that you're going to have there. What do you want this to do? Number one, it's strength. You want to make sure that you have the proper strength. In all this, the considerations you have to do with the type of soil that you have there, with the location of the building. Are you going to have underground floor, such as a basement? Is the water table very low? What kind of moisture are you going to have in there? Again, what is the purpose of that slab? Are you going to have a finished slab, or are you going to have it covered? There's just so many considerations that you have to keep in mind. And it doesn't even consider the reinforcing that goes in there. So obviously the relationship in the design process and also with your structural engineer is very, very important when designing the concrete in the foundations and the concrete slab in your home. In the 1970s, tilt-up construction got very, very popular. You were seeing buildings going up left and right in this style of or the method of tilt-up concrete construction. You do still see it a lot in single-story buildings. And what tilt-up concrete construction is basically is the pouring of slabs on the ground and then tilting those walls up that are going to form the walls. And then you brace these together so that it stays rigid as if it were a box. I've seen multi-story buildings made out of tilt-up construction. I'll never forget talking to a structural engineer about a building, a hotel that was designed out of tilt-up construction, tilt-up concrete construction. And I asked him what his thoughts were. His short answer was, I would never stay there. And the reason is because it doesn't take a genius to realize that if there's an earthquake, you will have this rigid type of structure that if there is a weakness in the structure, it could come tumbling down like a, deck of cards. We've all played with a deck of cards and trying to build a structure to see how high we can go up with a deck of playing cards. Well, in the same way, if one of those walls comes off, it could come and start falling on top of each other, right? I know people that won't stay at that hotel because that scares them. And I can't blame them. I mean, to this day, there hasn't been any problems with that building. I'm sure it was designed very, very well. But just the idea and the concept of having a multi-story building made out of tilt-up construction is a little uneasy. So I think that most people stick to tilt-up construction on a single-story type facility.